me stuck with trust issues. Now I'm easy to giving up. It ain't easier for the next. That's trying to heal my core, trying to show me more, trying to love me more. You got me wondering how I made it so far. You got me wondering how I'ma heal all these scars. Yeah, but I did this to myself, and I just need me some help. I need some therapy. I need some therapy. I need some therapy. I need some therapy. I think it's funny how in the beginning you used to carry me forever, but I guess forever just means temporary. Temporary just allow you to hurt me, cause you're doing surgery. You hurting me, you irking me, cause everybody love me. Your daddy, your granny, the cousins and nannies, there's so many. It was the whole family, yeah. And don't forget the others, all your friends and all your brothers, especially your mother, but you chose love. You got me wondering how I made it so far. You got me wondering how I'ma heal all these scars. Yeah, but I did this to myself, and I just need me some help. I need some therapy. 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 I need some therapy.
G3, why you saucing on?
You got me wondering how I made it so far. You got me wondering how I'ma heal all these scars. Yeah, but I did this to myself, and I just need me some help. I need some therapy. I need some therapy. I need some therapy. I need some therapy. I had a feeling deep inside, and you know the reason why. Why never again I can trust you? Cause you told me not to worry about the person you booed up with now. Now you got me stuck with trust issues. Now I'm easy to giving up. It ain't easier for the next. That's trying to heal my core, trying to show me more, trying to love me more. You got me wondering how I made it so far. You got me wondering how I'ma heal all these scars. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm a ghost. Tonight on the RAVEstream, Michael does a lesson on getting your mind right and keeping pace with God. Plus, some more surprises and announcements. The RAVEstream starts now.
All right. So I forgot to turn on the lights again. So I think we're going to hit the intro one more time. Does that sound good? I think that sounds good. All right. Here we go. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the RAVEstream. You might have noticed that the set looks a little bit different, and that's because it is only me. No one else is here. It's really lonely, actually. But Rodney's unavailable, and yeah, I know, second time teaching. I'm sorry, Jenna. What'd you expect? Normally I wouldn't make excuses. I'd be like, well, I tend to forget the lights every time, so come on, Michael, you should pick up the pace. But I was supposed to have help doing this part, doing all the keys and stuff, but life happens. I'm here. There is no one else in here, which means that I might make a joke that I think is really funny, and then not realize that, not realize that everyone at home is going. But we're gonna have a fun stream anyway. To start off, we're gonna go ahead and give you some announcements. WorkCamp signups have already started, so please go to www.handsfreemissions.org to sign up for WorkCamp. You click on WorkCamp, then you click on the 2021 registration. That should all be taken care of. You make your account, sign in, and yeah, you'll be good to go. Finally, an audience member. Amy, it's so good to see you. I'm lonely. No one else showed up. They all abandoned me. But yeah, the cost for WorkCamp is going to be $70. It's from 6th to 12th grade. But if you're a college student and you happen to be watching this and you're like, hey, I think I could help during, oh shoot, I got to remember the week for WorkCamp. It's I think it's the first week in June, first or second week in June. It's sometime in June. If you're a college student and you think you can help, contact Rodney. And yeah, I'm sure he'll have things for you to do, ways that you can help. You notice we've only got one little minifigure up here, and that's not because I killed the others. That did not happen. But I just kept knocking him off last time, and I figured, you know, I would bring up the one that I care the most about. Because, well, that way I'll end up knocking him off, and he'll... I was going to make a joke out of that, and it didn't work. This is already a horrendous start. The other major announcement we have is Impact is happening June 20th through the 23rd. Email Rodney to sign up. It's not a really complicated sign-up process. It's probably simpler than WorkCamp usually, but it's only $125. It's more of a day camp this year. Instead of staying on the campus, we're going to be staying off campus and then commute in and stay there for 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. doing all the traditional Impact things. Whatever those are, I haven't been, but I'm going this year, and you should too. Last major announcement we have is in-person Wednesday class starts at June 2nd. Can I get a one-person applause, please, for the June 2nd? Yeah, we're having Wednesday classes back. We're going to introduce our summer theme, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We might... I don't know if all three interns... Should be all three. We don't have three interns. Both interns should be there, so you will get to see the new person on the block. You're well acquainted and probably sick of me, so we'll get some fresh blood in there. That sounds like something Dracula would have said. Just be like, get some fresh blood in there. But we're gonna go ahead and start off with our lesson tonight. I don't have any skits planned. I don't have any funny videos. It's just gonna be me talking to the camera and then wishing you all the best. Tonight we're talking about getting your mind right for setting the race. Basically having a Christian mindset as you're running the race. And to do this, we're going to pull up some verses here, which now that because I had to change the scene and everything, I'm pretty sure the verses are going to land right on my head. So I'm going to adjust those as I go along. But the first, I guess, point, I guess you could say, that I wanted to address, let me scoot my chair over just a little bit. There we go. The first point I wanted to address about getting your mind right when you're running the race is accountability. If you're ever familiar with, you know, being at work or doing school, you know that having someone watching you tends to result in more work getting done, especially if it's something you don't enjoy doing, right? If it's a subject you really don't like doing, sometimes you need your mom to just be over your shoulder, just nagging you like, have you got it done yet? Have you got it done yet? as opposed to just sort of being left to your own devices, in which case you'll probably wait until the last minute and then try to frantically complete it and not do as good of a job as you could, and probably not complete all of it. Speaking from experience, don't do that in college. It's not a smart idea. But accountability is a big part of living your life successfully and living your life in a godly manner, because having people around you that can check you and that can criticize and hold you up to a higher standard is important for any sort of biblical growth. The first verse I wanted to bring up it's a longer one. Probably the longest one tonight I've got is Galatians 6, 1 through 6. And let's just stick that right in the corner. And it says, "Brothers and sisters, if someone is caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore the person gently. But watch yourself, or you also may be tempted." I'm going to stop there just at the first verse. So just to break that verse down in layman's terms, it's basically saying, hey, listen, if someone screws up, you've got to be there to help them out. You've got to be accountable to that person, and they have to be accountable to you so that you can build each other up. But it also gives the reader a warning as well. It says, you also, I'm going to keep swapping those words, you also may be tempted. Sometimes when we're trying to reach out to someone, trying to help them or help God help them, sometimes we get caught in the things they're doing, and we start making the same mistakes, which logically you shouldn't, because you would think, oh, well, I've seen them do that thing, that's the wrong thing, therefore I now know not to do that. Of course, as human beings, we're not entirely logical all the times. Just ask any sports fan. And so oftentimes, as we're trying to reach out to others, we might become tempted to do the things that they're doing, and it's important to be on guard against that. In verse 2, it says, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." It's interesting that he uses the word burdens there, because oftentimes our sins really do feel like burdens. They feel like they're dragging us down. They're this weight that we just can't shake off of us. And if you ever picked up anything heavy, spreading the load with someone else, having someone else to help you carry stuff will certainly make that easier, and is a great step to dealing with a variety of problems. In verse 3, it says, "If anyone thinks they are something when they are not, they deceive themselves." This one's pretty self-explanatory. Don't get caught too much in your own head. Don't start thinking, well, this person struggles with this sin. That's not happening to me. I'm doing great at that. It's very sad, but it's been my experience that every single time I got a little cocky or arrogant about, I don't do that, I would immediately start doing that within the next calendar year. I don't know if that has worked for, not worked. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that as well, but that's certainly been my experience. So I don't recommend being cocky or arrogant, because it's just not a good place to be. It's not beneficial for you or for anyone around you to sort of assume, well, I've got this under control, and I'm all this and I'm all that. And so that's really not a good way to approach being right with God and running the race. In verse 4, it says, "Each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone." Now this is really interesting to me, because it implies that we are required to test ourselves. It's not just God testing us, or it's others testing us. It's us being accountable to ourselves, and then being able to think to ourselves with pride, hey, this was a temptation. I overcame that. This was a difficulty, and I was able to move past it and grow as a result. In verse 5, it goes on to say, "For each one should carry their own load." Now that might seem counterintuitive or contradictory to verse 2, where it says carry each other's burdens. But it's sort of implying, it's not, if you look at it deeper, it's implying that, hey, you need to be able to pull your own weight, and you need to be able to striving to do that if you can't currently do it. And you need to be carrying other people's burdens who aren't able to pull each other's weight yet, who are still working towards that. And so those two verses really tie together, because on the one hand, you're supposed to pull your own weight, but you're not just expected to stay passive and not look for ways to improve it all. You also want to be carrying other people's burdens, lifting other people up as well, and moving together with them when they can't carry their own weight. In verse 6, it says, nevertheless, the one who receives instruction in the word should share all good things with their instructor. This is a really telling verse, I would say, because it makes it abundantly clear that God's position is, listen, just because you're teaching a lesson, if one of your students learns something, or one of the people that you're talking to or ministering to learns something, they should tell you. They should let you know, hey, I think this has been really helpful for me. I would recommend it, right? You don't just as the learner or as the person who's being taught get to just soak up all this information and not have any obligation to give it back. You have to be either teaching others where you can help them, or in this case, looking for ways you can help your instructor or those who are teaching you to be better at their craft. So that pretty much sums up the Galatians passage, and that really touches on the accountability of being accountable to ourselves, accountable to God, and accountable to others. The next verse I have for y'all is a lot shorter, but it's a bit more metaphorical. This is over my head, not metaphorically, but literally. If I can move it off of my face, that would be fantastic. 1 second. There we go. Look at that. It's right there. So this is a much shorter verse, but I chose this one because it's very metaphorical, which I like. I like the sort of verses that you read initially and go, that makes no sense. And then after rereading them over and over again, you start to get a picture of what the author is trying to portray. So in this passage, or I should say verse, it's not really a passage, it's only one verse. Proverbs 27:6, it says, wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. That's a very silly sort of sounding verse when you initially hear it. It sounds like something someone from Monty Python would say. If you've ever seen any Monty Python movies, you know the Frenchman in the castle. It sounds like something he would taunt. He'd be like, wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses, King Arthur. That certainly gives me that sort of vibe, that sort of personality from this verse. So let's break it down line by line. The first line is, wounds from a friend can be trusted. Now that seems kind of intuitive. Non-intuitive. Is there a non-intuitive? Is that a word? I don't think that's a word. We're calling it a word. Be quiet, Amy. No, unintuitive is probably what it is. Wounds from a friend can be trusted. Doesn't really make sense off the first glance or impression, because it's like, well, they're my friend. Why would they be wounding me? That's not a very nice thing to say. But he's not referring to the literal wounding. He's not saying your friend is going to come on over and beat you over the head with a hammer. Instead, what this passage is saying is that, listen, your friend or your friends are there to find your weaknesses and point them out to you. To say, hey, these are your wounds, here, right? This is what you've got to improve on. You need to work on this. This needs a little bit of patching, but it's okay, right? And that's what it means when it says wounds from a friend can be trusted, because your friend's not constantly giving you this, oh, everything is great, life is grand sort of spiel. Your friend is saying, hey, you need to improve in these areas, and I'm going to keep it $150 with you. This is how it is. you great at this, and you're terrible at this, and you need to improve on this, and you need to make sure that progress and the quality of this doesn't slip. And then in the next part, it says, but an enemy multiplies kisses. And this is referring to just people that don't have your best interests at heart, that are just saying, oh, you're great, you're all this and all that, just because they want something out of you or they want something from you. And of course, you can have friends that are, complimenting you and telling you, hey, you're doing a great job in this, encouraging you in that ways. But if they're not critiquing you when you need to be critiqued, they're not really your friend, because your friend would say, hey, this is something that you're struggling with. This is something you're not doing well at. You need to find a way to improve this. And as your friend, I'm telling you that so that you can be better as a person and be closer to God and improve in your spiritual life. Whereas an enemy would be like, hey man, no, you got it. Well, some would say that's bad, but it's all good, man. We're just hanging out here. Everything's fine. And it's I'm gonna mute. So I think there might have been an echo. It's very important to have someone that keeps it honest with you. I've been fortunate to have in my life a couple peers and friends my age who I could just be brutally real with, who I could say, hey, this is how it is, this is how I feel, this is how I think. What do you guys think? How could we critique this? How could we change this? What do you think is the better path going forward? And they, in turn, they'd be brutally real with me, and I'd be brutally real with them. That's a little bit of a tongue twister. I'd tell them straight up, it's like, hey, this is not working. What you're doing, that's not good for you. Don't do that. And of course, there's times when you need to be harsh, and there's times where you will be harsh, but sometimes you have to break the news or slowly steer a conversation towards a topic slowly to get them warmed up for it. But it's important to have those conversations, and it's important to have peers that will have those conversations with you. So that's Proverbs 27:6, basically going on the theme of counsel and advice, right? Having people there to counsel you, giving advice to those, and then receiving advice in return. The last verse I wanted to touch on is from 2 Corinthians, and this is a long one, and it is over my face again. Come on. Hey, there we go. Right there, right in the corner. So this is from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 9 and 10. And this passage is all about, I would say, managing your emotions. Just another aspect of that mental readiness for running the race and improving in your day-to-day life is managing your emotions and making sure you can view things somewhat logically. I say somewhat because no one's perfect. It says, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weakness, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weakness, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. This passage really hits home for me because it says God's grace is sufficient, and you don't have to come as a perfect person. You need to get out of the mindset of I have to be perfect, and then I can come, and then I can receive salvation, and everything's going to be great. And everyone makes this same mistake. We all sort of go, well, I've got this church event coming up. I need to be this, and this. This is what I've got to take care of. This I could do with a little bit more of this. I need a little bit more of maybe patience and kindness. And I can't come to this event until I'm ready, until I'm at this point. I caught myself thinking this exact same thing, being in this mindset just a couple weeks ago. I was thinking to myself, wow, the summer's almost starting. I'm gonna be an intern. I've gotta lead, singing and do lessons and that sort of stuff. Well, I need to have this under control, and this little problem needs to just scooch right off to the side and be gone. And I could do with a little bit more patience, because my goodness, I know how I can bite some people's heads off sometimes. And in reality, expecting myself to walk in, when's the internship start? May 28th, May 29th, and be just this perfect work, this incredibly patient, well-spoken, always energetic, always positive attitude individual. I'm probably going to achieve that some of the time, but it's unrealistic for me to expect that from me all the time. Even though that is what I'm striving to do, even though I'm striving to be that person and to constantly improve, it's unrealistic, and it's not a healthy mindset for me to just expect that of myself. And because that's going to lead to disappointment. I'm going to start, and we're going to get like halfway through the summer, and I'm going to go, man, I have not been fulfilling my side of the bargain. I haven't been doing really well. Like I got to improve on this. I said I was going to be good on this. I said this wasn't going to be a problem. That's not a healthy way to view it. That's not a healthy mindset to be in, because you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for disappointment. One quote that I don't think I heard this anywhere. I think I just sort of internalized it or thought it myself, although I'm sure someone has said something similar, is that when it comes to religion and Christianity, you need to set perfection the standard for yourself, with the expectation that you're never going to get there. You need to always be striving towards perfection, striving to be the best you possibly can. But you need to understand that you're not going to get all the way there, and God's going to fill in the rest of the gap. And it's really important to be in that mindset, because if I approached every calculus test I took with the mindset of, okay, 100% is the bare minimum I need to get on this test. That is the bare minimum. I can't, no 99s, no nothing. I'm going to tell you guys, I'd be disappointed with just about every calculus test. I think I've only gotten one where I've gotten 100% on. Like, I'm going to be disappointed a lot. And as a result, my performance is going to suffer. My mood's going to go down. I'm not going to be as confident in my abilities, because I set this unrealistic goal for myself. I didn't set a target to strive for. I set a goal. And that's going to be hard. It goes on to say, in the second part, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships. And this is counterintuitive as well. There's the word, counterintuitive. I knew there was a word. I knew it. It's not unintuitive. It's not non-intuitive. It's counterintuitive. It's counterintuitive to think that you would delight in weakness. But if we take examples from our everyday life, it makes a bit more sense. If you go to the gym, right? One example of how you know it was a good workout is you're sore the next day. Right? You're really sore. You're really tired. Not like, oh, I pulled my hamstring, or oh, I tore my ACL kind of sore. Like, my muscles ache all over, and I feel tired, but I have energy, but I feel tired. Everything's achy a little bit. And so you know that, hey, I am weak, but that means I'm going to be strong later. And it goes on in saying in this verse, for when I am weak, then I am strong, right? You could also spin this another way and say, well, when we are at our weakest, God can be at his strongest. God can show just how strong he can be. Because to keep it real with y'all, like, when we are doing all right, I would say we're not as aware of how much God is helping us. When everything's nice and dandy, and the flowers are all blooming and it's all sunshiny, we're feeling pretty great. Likely you're not praying 4 times a day, saying, God, please help me, because things are going great. In your mind, you're thinking, well, I'm doing all right. I don't really need much help. But when you're weak, you're actually at your strongest, because you're fully dependent on God. You know that you are you're there with him, and he's there with you, and you know he's got your back because you can tell. So yeah, that's what I wanted to leave y'all with tonight. Just getting your mind right. You've got to be mind right. You've got to have people to be accountable to. Be accountable to others. You've got to give advice and take advice. And you've got to manage your emotions. And you'll notice with at least the first two, managing emotions is kind of a thing for everybody. But you notice with the first two, accountability and counsel or advice, those are two-way streets. Those not only involve you receiving the criticism, but also giving it to others so that they can be better and you can be better at the same time. So that's what I wanted to leave y'all with tonight. I'm not sure if this was a short lesson or a long one. It seems like whenever Rodney's up here, he talks for like an hour, but it seems like whenever I'm up here, I talk for like 5 minutes and it's over. That's 30 minutes. Hey, that's not too bad. But yeah, let's see. I don't think we have any fancy videos. No, we don't. Okay, so just to remind y'all before I leave you, hang on. Let me get rid of that verse real quick. Get a nice crisp background. Say hello, Groot. So just before I leave y'all, I just wanted to give you another reminder of the announcement I said at the start. Sign up for WorkCamp. Sign up for Impact. And in-person Wednesday class is going to start on June 2nd. Okay. I would say if you're on the fence about what if you want to go to WorkCamp or Impact, obviously we would prefer to get Impact signups as soon as possible, but WorkCamp signups we need like now. So please sign up because if not, I don't know if Rodney says no to people, but I mean if I was in charge, I'd probably be like, we had a deadline, you missed it, sorry. that might be a little bit cruel. But yeah, be sure to sign up for WorkCamp. It just helps Rodney out, helps everyone that's working in the kitchen out to know just how many people are going to be there so that they can plan everything. So we got to get food. We've got to get a certain amount of bands for people to go into their colored groups. Who's going to be on the red group? Is it Glorify that's red band? I can't remember. I think green might have been Teach. I probably got them all mixed up. But yeah, make sure you sign up for WorkCamp. Just go to www.handsfreemissions.org. Click WorkCamp. Click the 2021 registration. Make your account. Sign on up for that. And yeah, we will see y'all next week with hopefully more technical support. See ya. Have a good one.